Yeah, we are back again in biology. This is biology lesson 004. I hope you are following the biology sequentially to avoid being cut off from the lesson. I advise you to follow it as it is 001, 002, 003. Now we are 004 so that you'll be in line and well updated. So biology will help you in the area of medical sciences, natural sciences, biological sciences. So now we continue from where we stopped. In our last class, we discussed the fungi. Fungi was the last topic we discussed. Let me summarize what we discussed in the fungi. I told you that all the fungi are saprophytes. I defined for you saprophytism. I told you saprophytism simply means a mode of feeding whereby living organisms live and survive on dead and decaying organic matter. And we were able to understand how these fungi operate and survive in dead and decaying organic matter because they undergo what we call extracellular digestion, whereby an organism makes use of its enzymes outside its body and digest the substrate and then absorb the nutrients into its body system. And I told you that the eggs that is skeleton that the cell wall of the fungi is made up of chitin. I say the chitin is just a kind of polysaccharide which contains sugar. Today, we are going to discuss another class of plants that we call bryophytes. We are discussing the plantae. The plantae, and in the plantae, I told you it's made up of the bryophyte, the lycophyte, the pteridophyte, the gymnosperm, and the angiosperm. Today, we're going to dwell on the bryophytes. Bryophytes. Bryophytes are the, according to evolutionary trend, bryophytes are the first aquatic plants that live on terrestrial habitats. What I mean, they are the first plants that live aquatic environment, aquatic habitat, and colonize the terrestrial, the land. So they are the first plant on the earth. In the whole universe, they are called the colonizers because they are the first plant to occupy the earth. They are simple in structure, macroscopic because we can see them with our eyes. Example here is moss. Moss, the mosses, and liverworts. They make up the bryophytes. These bryophytes, they do not have true roots. They don't have roots. But they have an anchorage that helps to anchor them on the substrate called rhizoid. 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 The work of the rhizoid is to anchor these bryophytes to stay on each substrate. It is not a true root. The true root, like the roots in plants. Now, they undergo what we call alternation of generation. Alternation of generation. The bryophytes undergo what we call alternation of generation. What is alternation of generation? This is where an organism undergoes two life cycles before it completes its span on the earth. These two life cycles are the sporophyte stage, sporophyte stage, and the gametophyte stage. Gametophyte stage. What is sporophyte stage? Sporophyte stage is the stage where these organisms produce spore. The spore I told you that serves as the seed that are carried by wind, and when it lands on a favorable condition can germinate into new plants. So the sporophyte stage is where the spores are produced. Then the gametophyte stage is where the gametes are produced. In the gametophyte stage here we have the female gametes and we have the male gametes. The male gametes in the bryophyte are produced in what we call the antheridium. The antheridium. The antheridium is where the male gametes of the bryophyte are produced, while the archegonium is where the female gamete is produced from the bryophytes. So these are the two life cycles that the bryophytes undergo before they complete their lifespan on the earth. They are the sporophyte stage and the gametophyte stage. What happens in the sporophyte stage is where the spores are produced. What happens at the gametophyte stage? It is the stage where the gametes are produced. And what we call this process? It is called alternation of generation. We are going to have to discuss the two groups that make up the bryophytes. They are the musci and the hepatica, the hepatica. These are the two groups that make up the bryophytes. They are the musci and the hepatica. Let's look at briefly at the musci. The musci are made up of the moss. You know about moss. This moss covers the earth. They are like carpets on the earth surface. They look like they are greenish in color, covering the earth surface, greenish in color. Even on the walls of the fence, they grow there. They grow on the walls on old blocks. They grow there. They're covering the whole fence. They are greenish in color. Okay, that's very one that you see with your eyes is the gametophyte stage. Gametophyte stage of the moss. Because the gametophyte stage of the moss live longer than Ihs sporophyte stage. When the male gamete of the moss fuses with the female gamete of the moss, they form a zygote. The zygote germinates into what we call they form a zygote. That this zygote will now germinate into a sporophyte. The sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte to survive for its water and nutrition. So the sporophyte is not independent. So it depends for its survival on the nutrients provided by the gametophyte. So it is short-lived, it does not live long. Then it produces the spore, which when carried by the wind and falls on a good condition, germinates into a gametophyte. That's the one you see. That's the one you see on the walls of the fence. That's one you see on the old block. That's one you see carpet in the soil. Carpet in the soil. The gametophyte stage. The hepatica. The hepatica is made up of the liverworts. The liverworts. The body of the liverwort is like talus. Like talus. This liverwort cannot live on terrestrial like the moss. So it is still aquatic up to now. So it is the moss that lives terrestrially right now. The liverwort is still aquatic. The difference between the moss And liverwort is that the moss has the capacity, the potential to live on the earth, on the surface of the earth. But the liverwort is still there, and the body of the liverwort looks like talus. This very one here looks like carpet, carpeting the soil. Thank you very much. I would like to see your comment on the comment section. I will also like to see your questions